ready to crank up the volume because you're about to enter the realm of rebels and rock stars. Unleashing the thunder from down under the stage. We're diving deep with a deviance of melody, rhythm, and chaos. Now push up your sleeves and get ready to dive into the pit. It's time for Sitting with the Slimy Bastards, Music Edition.
Alrighty, another episode of Welcome to the Slimy Bastard Podcast Show. Back here in Iowa, it's sunny. It's a beautiful day out today. Things are looking good. Trip down to New Orleans and the podcast with the guys, The Sun Don't Shine, went awesome. That's out where you guys could check that out on all the social media links. But today, I got the pleasure of the guys all the way, and they're in different countries. This is kind of a cool thing. But the guys of Rootbrain is joining us. Of course, they're on the Corpse Paints record label. I actually heard these guys when I was down in New Orleans. Andrew Spalding introduced me to them and told me that he's on, that these guys are on his new label and everything. And I got to say, I've heard some of the stuff that you guys have recorded, and sounds awesome. But welcome to the show. Introduce yourselves, and let's get into it.
Hey, Jason. Sorry, Thomas, for stealing the word.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm Victor. I'm the lead guitarist from Rootbrain.
Okay.
Yes. Hi, Victor. I'm Thomas Wright. I'm the bass player of Rootbrain and also the kind of primus motor of the band.
Yeah. Now, you guys explain for people that don't know, because you guys are in different parts of the country, actually in the world, right? And so where are you at, Thomas? And then we'll get to Victor here.
I'm in Finland. I'm in the middle of nowhere in an island in the wilderness in a cottage. That is also kind of like the headquarters of our band, where we always gather from around the world and then start doing our shit.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then you, Victor, where are you?
I'm sitting in Germany, in Bavaria, also in a small place, but I'm not very far away from Munich.
Okay. So the time differences, because are you guys what time is it where you're at, Thomas?
Well, it's like 5:30 p.m.
Oh, okay.
And I'm 1 hour earlier, so it's 4:30-ish.
So it's not too bad then.
No.
Now, I got to get into this because listening to some of the stuff you guys have done, and how did you guys get hooked up with Andrew? Because I first of all, let me add, or should say, I got to know Andrew really well over the last 6 months, and great guy to be around. He's fun. He's very energetic, and the positivity that comes off of him is just something else. And he's one of them guys that when you're around him, you want to almost succeed by 1,000% just because of the way he operates and everything. So it's kind of cool to see. But how'd you guys get involved with him?
Well, I'm the connection because I met Andrew in, don't let me say the wrong number, in 2007. That's how long I know him already. That happened because back in that day I was the live guitarist of Celtic Frost, and Celtic Frost and Type O Negative were on a US tour together, along with another band called Brand New Sin. And Andrew was the merchandiser of Type O Negative.
Oh, nice.
So we were basically on the road more or less together for about a month or something, and we became friends. Like there was anyways a very good vibe between the whole Type O Negative like group and the Celtic Frost. So that's how we met each other. We lost a little bit contact over the years because I was never on Facebook or anything, but I could sometimes see that when one of my bands posted something on Facebook, that he would write something like, "Hey, say hello to Victor" or something. And then at some point we both started with Instagram, and so we got in contact again. And last year in March, I had a show with Crypticon in Houston, and so Drew came. So we met again finally after like 15 years. It was really really awesome to meet him again, and he told me about the label and that he really wants to get into that. And yeah, so when he heard about Rootbrain, he got really interested. So I played him our album, and he absolutely loved it. And so now we're working together, which is quite cool.
Oh, nice. Now, have you guys been over here to the States then, doing anything with him where he's down in Florida? I mean, how's that? 'Cause I would assume you guys do a lot over line and that, and but what's that process look like for you guys?
Unfortunately, not yet. So the
Yeah.
whole bunch of us has not met Drew yet, for example. But I hope that will change in the near future.
Yeah.
I mean,
And,
of course, it would be fantastic to play in the United States one day with Rootbrain, but realistically, it's also not an easy task to make it over to the United States, because if you're still a starting or a beginning band, you can almost forget about it. To be quite honest,
is it that difficult?
well, I mean, if you want to do it the right way, you actually need a work visa if you come to the United States and play there. And I would need that definitely, because I've been playing in the United States already a couple of times, and my passport is full of all these US work visas. And if I would be at the border and come for a show and try to sneak in without telling what I actually want, I would get busted. So no way. So you really need a work visa, and to apply for a work visa is kind of quite a complicated task actually, and it's not cheap either. So if the authorities might even say like, well, we don't know your band, we never heard about it, it's not important enough, so no, you don't get a visa, then you can basically forget it. So
So
it's hard.
I
It's hard to get your door into the or your foot into the door. But let's see, it's not impossible. I mean, with my other two bands, I made it. So who knows?
Yeah. And have you been here in the United States playing before, Thomas?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay, so you haven't been to the United States and never playing then.
No.
So okay, so that leads into my next question. And you've been over here obviously with Typo Negative and that when you were in Celtic Frost, right?
Yeah.
And all the places that you played, what was one of the coolest places that you played over here?
The coolest places that we played. That is hard to answer. There were a couple of very interesting shows. There was, for example, one that was kind of out extraordinary, which was in a place called the Great Salt Air, which is close
In
to
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City, which is not a place that you would usually go to as a metal band, for rather obvious reasons, or like because like it's not like the place where you would expect to be playing extreme metal, or because I mean that's not what you would associate with that place. But it was quite amazing actually. We had a fantastic, super
it's actually
energetic.
it's a really, really cool place. I've been there a couple different times when
Yeah.
I lived out in Idaho, and that it's a really, really cool place. So yeah.
And also the nature around the environment was absolutely mind-blowing. Like I was outside all day, and I made a lot of photos, and I still have like actually photo prints from that day that I made. So that was quite fascinating to play at that place, of course. And then sometimes it's hard to pick out any other special show. Of course, it's always cool to play in, I don't know, LA.
So with you, Thomas, I mean, you guys been around, obviously, probably where you guys are at playing and everything. Overseas and that, like I've never been to a show overseas and everything, but what's the vibe and the crowd experience like? I mean, that's kind of a hard question for you, Thomas, is because you don't know what the crowd experience is like here in the United States. But would you say that the metal scene is bigger where you guys are than obviously here in the United States? Or I mean, how does that come across?
Well, yeah, obviously it's really hard to compare when I
Right.
haven't witnessed
Yeah.
an authentic American crowd, and of course the country is so big that there's not just one America,
Right.
but
Yeah.
also in Finland it's probably different than in most countries in the world, because in Finland metal music is nowadays completely mainstream. So
Mm.
Uh-huh.
so the way we operate is maybe a bit different. There's a lot of motivation in what we do. Is kind of like it's born from the annoyance of the metal music becoming
Right.
so mainstream. So we're kind of starting to rebel against that, and because it's become too middle classy,
Commercialized.
middle aged, and too like conservative and tired and lame. So we're kind of rebelling inside the bubble. But yeah, I really can't. There's no point in me starting comparing different crowds, because it's always,
Right.
if you haven't been there, and it's always also something that is dependent on one evening. There's magical
Yeah.
evenings all around the world. It's all about the
Yeah, that
timing.
makes sense. What is one of the, like, what is some of the bigger bands in Finland right now?
Well, right now the biggest metal bands probably Nightwish, Amorphis,
Yeah.
and bands like that. Of course, there
Uh-huh.
was Children of Bodom, but unfortunately that ended. And yeah, and him was huge
Yeah.
example. But that's the kind of stuff that you can hear that kind of stuff in shopping malls in Finland. So it's really
Oh,
really
really? They played in shopping malls over there, huh?
yeah.
No
So
kidding.
so there's not really this, the whole rebel and danger aspect has kind of been demolished from the metal music, and we're kind of trying to give some CPR to that and keep some
Yeah.
danger, and now we're just trying to annoy somebody.
Yeah. That's funny though that they sit there they actually play that in shopping malls and shopping areas back where you guys are, huh?
Yeah, not exactly Children of Bodom, or but yeah, him for sure. You can hear it
Uh,
while doing your Christmas shopping. Yeah.
God, that over here in the United States, I just can't imagine walking into like Walmart and then you got like, for example, Rootbrain or you got Megadeth Blair. You know what I mean? Of just
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Is it
it's
true though? Like I once heard the rumor, you can actually verify that. Like it's probably like 20 years ago or more. I heard the rumor that they actually played Corn in a Walmart
oh
because
really?
Corn were so big at that time, or like late 90s or around the
Yeah.
drop to 2000s. I don't know if this is a rumor. Probably it is, but
But that was
Yeah.
in the states, or
in the
for Finland.
States, yeah, at Walmart in the States, I heard that rumor, but maybe it's just like nonsense. But
Well, I guess it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, this some of the crazy stuff, but I mean, it's just something that you just don't hear. And normally it's contemporary music or like elevator type music in certain areas of the
yeah,
shopping centers here in the States anyway. So yeah. So what, if you don't
in
mind me
Germany.
asking, what are you guys into right now? What are you guys listening to right now?
Well, I'm not listening too much, that much at all. To be honest, I'm right in the middle of the writing process of music, and in a way, I don't need anything additional. There's so much going on inside the head, so
Uh-huh.
just I'm just surviving with the all the old stuff that's been sucked into the system
Sure.
before.
So do you find that works better for you, just having kind of that clear head of what you're working on in that moment for what you're recording in that without any inside outside influences?
There's not really one formula for that, because sometimes it's really inspiring to
Sure.
listen to music, all kinds of
Yeah.
music. It just gives you the
Yeah.
gets you gets you in the mood.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's no there's really no answer for that. It's about the moment really. But
Sure.
when there's something really like actively developing inside their own head, maybe that's not the moment to
Yeah.
start listening to music, because it kind of then wipes out the other stuff from there. So yeah.
Right. That makes sense. What about you, Victor? Are you listening to anything right now, or what are
I'm
you
also
into
not
right now?
I'm also not listening to a hell lot of music because I'm mostly working with music. I do a lot of mixing in the studio, and right now, just until 10 minutes before the interview, I was mixing Panzerballett, which is some really, really crazy stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, like a weird combination of jazz and metal. So that's what I'm just working on. So after a day in the studio, I don't really want to listen too much to music, too much to music. But yeah, of course, I still listen to something. For example, like last week on Wednesday, I actually went to a show and I saw Deep Purple live for the first time in my
Oh,
life. It just happened because a very good friend of mine is actually a crew member of Deep Purple, so he's working for them since years, and so he invited me. I was on the guest list, so I could just watch the show, and
uh-huh.
I actually quite liked it. And they have a new guitarist, whose name I just forgot, but watching that guy was kind of inspiring, I have to say. There he did a few
Yeah.
things where I thought like, ah, this is an awesome idea. I want to do something like that. Of course, I'm not gonna steal anything or rip it off, but this was I don't have that very often that I see a band live and I get like an inspiration from it. But there was one moment where he just played a very, very long solo, and I thought like, yeah, um, that's cool.
Sure.
Great ideas.
Which is funny because when I was down in New Orleans, Kenny and Johnny were actually talking about how much uh, Peter and Josh were so influenced by Deep Purple, and that you could hear a lot of that
Oh,
even in their music, and that I should say of the earlier stages and that. But yeah, that's cool that you got to see them though. Of
mhm, mhm. I think they were also a lot influenced by Led Zeppelin. Kenny and
yeah,
Johnny, because I remember that's one of the memories I have from that tour that we had together. That they would always in the evening just hang out and listen to Led Zeppelin. That was kind of their thing.
that them two guys could have their own podcast show. And I almost brought this up. I was like, you know what? We
Yeah.
should sit down like once every 2 months and just have a podcast show with just them two guys, because that just what they feed off of each other is just funnier than hell.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with that, guys, I mean, what's you got this new album coming out? When's that looking like it's gonna drop, and what's going on there?
Yeah, there's a new EP called Mother Tomb coming through Corpse Paint Records, and it's the due date is in January.
Okay.
So yeah, 4 songs. That's just an EP, and then we're
Uh,
already working on a full length album to come
nice.
somewhere after. But yeah,
And are you guys planning on like I mean, obviously where you guys are, it's probably easier to do a little bit of touring and that with that. Is that going to be on the horizon for you guys, or what's that looking like for touring and that, and where you plan on going?
well, at the moment we're focusing on the core product that is the actual music, and then the touring and everything comes after that, and that's still something that because we're still a starting band and we don't have all the structures around us.
But
Uh,
yeah, at least we had our first couple of shows in Finland this summer, and it was a very good first step to do that. And yeah, I mean, let's see what we're going to do next year. But I'm confident that we will do some more shows again.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
there's gonna be more shows next year for sure. We already got the first bite and showed that yeah we can do it, and there's a lot of energy to give
sure.
out. Yeah, for sure there's gonna be shows, but it's still all completely abstract at the moment. So we're focusing on the things that we can actually have some effect on. So yeah,
Right.
so making music, that's the most efficient thing to
You know,
proceed.
I gotta say the remake that you guys did of Number One Fan by Garbage, really, really great. I thought it was a fantastic cover in that. Has that been something you guys have talked about doing as another cover of anything on this newer stuff that you guys are working on?
No, not really. No talk about covers. It's still mostly our own music is the thingy.
Sure.
But maybe if
Yeah.
something like if we come up with something that really we can make it sound like Rootbrain. That's the thing that we want to get everything through this Rootbrain filter and make it sound like our own and not just
Right.
quickly replaying something. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a cover at some point again, but we'll see if it just be for the live shows or if we'll actually record something. But yeah,
Sure.
I think we have
Well, I always
there's a strong production line of music anyway. So in that way, we
right.
don't need covers.
Right. No, and I just found it interesting. Like I always like, could you take some of the blasts from the past and just what's out there, and there's this certain stuff that that would vibe well for what you guys are doing, right? And put your twist on it. And I thought what you guys did there was fantastic. So
Thank you.
um that's why I brought that up. But Victor, I wanted to quick ask you your time with Celtic Frost and that. What's one of the most memorable times you had with that doing that project and what you worked on with them guys?
I think, I mean, it was for me, it was just a very short time basically because it was a time span of a couple of months. I had my first show in I think late March 2007, and the last show was already then in October 2007 in Mexico.
Uh,
And then Celtic Frost basically fell apart. But I mean, I'm still playing. I'm since that I'm always playing music with Tom because I'm also in Triptychon.
yeah,
So, but what I think it was just that whole overall experience to take out, and for me, honestly, that one tour that we did in the United States with Type O Negative is an unforgettable experience for me that I will always remember and hold dear. And it was, yeah, it was like a little trip in a parallel universe. It felt
yeah,
like that back then because it all happened very, very, very sudden. I mean, I had my own band at that time, Dark Fortress, but we were like not a really big band or anything. And then was quite surprising when I got the request if I wanted to join Celtic Frost as live guitarist, and that also just happened like very short before the actual tour. I had like 1 or 2 months to adjust to that and make everything happen. So it was like poof, and all of a
yeah.
sudden I was on tour with Celtic Frost basically like 9 or 9.5 weeks straight because first we had a European tour with Creator and then 2 or 3 nights at home and then flying over to the US and do that whole tour with Type O. So that whole thing was just quite amazing, I have to say.
And looking back on that, because and I brought this up too before, is I think Typo is probably bigger now than what they were back even like when you were around them, right? Um,
Really?
oh yeah, especially here in the States, I think Typo Negative is a bigger name now than what it was back in 2007, 2010.
I was not
Um,
aware of that, but it's actually good to hear.
Yeah, well, and I think largely due to the fact, and Kenny, I think, said it best is after Peter passed away, they didn't really, I mean, they haven't done anything, and
Mhm.
nothing was ever released. Obviously, they never toured again, but and it makes sense just that um, people re-bringing them up and listen to their stuff again, and I'm a huge Typo fan, and so
Mhm.
it's kind of cool for you, especially to say that you've even toured with them of
Mhm.
in a way of a legendary band for that industry, and you could even say the doom metal industry. And Thomas, I mean, were you into Typo Negative at all? I mean, where you are?
Yes, yes, it's really, yeah, it is a significant band for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
So I
I found them a bit late maybe, but still.
yeah. So I mean, that's what I mean. You just look back and all their stuff that they did, and it's quite amazing to see just that popularity. And so my hats off to you. And I know there's a lot of guys that would envy you that can say that they toured with that band, because that's a hell of a deal, you know.
I know.
So with that, I mean, what's coming up here? The next, I mean, obviously you guys are going to finish up the rest of this record and get all that done. But after the first year, kind of get the ball rolling in that. And with that being said, what are you guys looking forward to out of everything?
Mm, a lot of new music. Yeah, we wanna get the EP out of the way for starters, and yeah, and then make a killer second album. And I hope there's gonna be
Yeah,
lots of live shows
yeah,
out in the world if I can choose. Yeah.
sure. Do you agree with that, Victor? There.
I agree with it. Yeah, I have nothing to add. He gave a perfect answer.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys get over here to the States, I will say, Andrew needs to make sure that one of your stops is in New Orleans, because when we were down there, that is my first time ever being down in New Orleans there, and the
Yeah.
food down there is fantastic. So,
I would
uh,
I would really love to go to New Orleans. I've never played in New Orleans, but we spent a day off on that type O tour, and
uh-huh,
it was my favorite day on tour. I
really,
really loved
yeah,
New Orleans. I mean, of course, I was in the French Quarter, so that's basically that one snapshot or glimpse that I got from the city. But
uh-huh,
spending a day there was really killer. Uh,
yeah.
Great atmosphere, great vibe. Really, really cool place.
Yeah, like I said, the food there is fantastic, and
Mm.
so if you get the
Food is-
chance, tell Andrew to break out his checkbook and get you some of the oysters the Parmesan oysters that we had, because those were
Yeah,
great.
I went out with Andrew then, and I tasted something that I wouldn't eat anymore. To be honest, it's just wrong. We had crocodile, and I don't think it's right to eat crocodile. I wouldn't do that again. No.
Yeah, no, I never ventured that, and we just had some of the oysters, the charred broiled oysters, and
Mhm.
or charred grilled oysters, Parmesan, and those were fantastic in that. But no, is the food is where you guys are? I mean, I'm German. I'm actually my relatives are from Germany and that, and but I've had a lot of German food and that. But is the food over where you guys are, is it pretty good? Or what's some of the delicacies over there?
I think in Rootbrain we are all kind of food fans, and our drummer Fat Tony and our second guitarist, they're both professional chefs actually. So
Oh,
when
really?
something is happening with Rootbrain, we always have really good food to begin with, because just the stuff that we do by ourselves is always top notch, I
Yeah,
would say. Even though I'm a bit shy with cooking then, having these two guys in the band. But yeah, of course we have nice specialties in Germany, and I also even appreciate some of the Finnish food a lot, to be honest.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but I think cooking ourselves is one of the strengths of the band, I think.
Yeah.
sure.
Food is a really important part of this band. Really, it's cooking is quite similar to making music. Basically, everybody has the same ingredients at their usual, but then you just have to find the magic mix, and
Yeah,
a lot of similarities in there. But I don't. Yeah, thank you, Victor, for the complimentaries about the Finnish food culture.
Yeah,
No, the
I know you guys are always a bit shy about that. You're
no,
not
the
too
worst
excited.
worst person to hype that up, because basically all the recipes have been created when there's been war and famine, and just three potatoes growing from the soil, and then somebody came up with this great recipe of killing a moose
yeah.
and serving it with the three potatoes. And yeah, well, it's good when it's fresh, but I don't know if it's really something like mind blowing. This has never been done anywhere.
Well, guys, if you ever over here in the States, I'd love to meet up with you guys in person and experience some of
Likewise.
this myself of So with that being said, where can guys find your stuff, and where's your guys' links found and all that? I'll tag it all in my podcast and that when this gets uploaded and everything. But where can guys find you at?
Where you can find us?
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, webpage. That's basically where we're the worst social media or marketing people ever, but we're pretty good at music, so that compensates.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's on just find it out with Rootbrain, Facebook and all that. Of course, Corpse Paints Records and that will have has all of your links, and Andrew's pretty good about sharing all that stuff and everything. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate your guys' time your guys' afternoon, my mid-afternoon or early afternoon. But with that, guys, I appreciate the time and best of luck with the new album and EP and that you guys are doing. I love the new stuff from what I've heard when I was down in New Orleans with Andrew and that. It sounded really, really good. And I can't wait to hear the rest. What's that?
You heard the EP stuff or
Because whatever Andrew had on playing, I couldn't tell you the name of the song and everything, but right away I was like, "Who the hell's this?" And Andrew goes, "This is that Rootbrain I was telling you about that I'm working with. It's on my label now." And I was like, "Oh, this is fucking awesome." And so yeah,
You even got his shirt. I just see.
What's that?
You even got his shirt right now.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
he gave me one of these when when I was down there, and I told Andrew this the other, and I'm not hyping them. Well, I shouldn't say hyping them up, but I told him this the other day. I was like, when you do your shirts, and these are probably one of the most comfortable shirts I've ever worn. And
True, they are,
and they fit really nice. But it's a cool logo. I love the logo that he did with it and everything. I thought he did a fantastic job with it and everything. So
that's a crawfish, right?
yeah, yep. It's like a dead like crawfish. I don't know if you can see yeah, but he's gonna have to start plugging me some royalties here if I keep going on about it.
yeah.
No, it's all in good fun and everything. And like I said, guys, I appreciate the time and everything, and I don't want to hold you guys up and everything, but I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys here in the States sometime soon. And hopefully we cross paths. And if you guys ever want to come back on the show after everything is done, feel free to get a hold of me. I'd love to have you back on. And till then, I want to thank, of course, Slade Pitt and Adrenaline Clothing Line. And of course, thanks Gary and of course, Andrew Spalding at Corpse Paints Records for setting this up for me and helping me out along the way. And Thomas, Victor, and that, thanks again for being on the show. And until next time, toodaloo, buckaroo.
Get ready to crank up the volume because you're about to enter the realm of rebels and rock stars. Unleashing the thunder from down under the stage. We're diving deep with a deviance of melody, rhythm, and chaos. Now push up your sleeves and get ready to dive into the pit. It's time for Sitting with the Slimy Bastards, Music Edition.